Welcome to Monday. Welcome to June. I was thinking today, like, man, that puts us like in this place almost halfway through the year. It's crazy. So, but we're up for that. Okay, as we get started this morning, a couple of things that I want you guys to remember to do is to go into the bod group and update your stats, right? Let's take inventory of where we're at. What went well in May? Where do you want to improve, right? If you pull out your bootcamp Bible, you know, again, there's just some really great tools in there to help you. I think I put mine away in a folder actually, finally. But anyway, there's some really good tools in here to help you to just kind of like evaluate the month, right? Evaluate what went well. Like there's some prompt questions in there, what your victories were. And so use that to really set yourself up, you know, each month to decide what's important and what you want to move forward with, right? So put your stats in there. I'll look at those as we go through the weekly check-ins this week and just kind of touch base with everybody on how you're doing, how you're feeling. You know, if we're struggling in certain areas, what we can do to really take action on that this month too. So, and then I included a couple other sheets that you can add to your bootcamp Bible in the weekly check-in yesterday. So I think that that'll be fun. You know, again, it's not motivating to really look at our end goal and where we're going. A lot of times that seems far away and something that, you know, we're not being able to control on a weekly basis necessarily, right? If your goal is to lose 30 to 50 pounds, like that's not going to happen this week alone, right? So using that 2-pound down tracker, I think will be really motivating it to be able to check that off as you're making progress towards your goal. And then using that calendar to really, again, to see your progress over time. It was interesting. So I just started my favorite program again today, Lift 4. And when I pulled out my old tracker sheets, you know, to see where I was with my weights and things like that, I keep on the top of that, I kept track of my weight each week, you know, when I would weigh in. And, you know, over the last month, I've kind of felt like, man, I have this few pounds that it's like I haven't been this heavy in a long time, right? And then I look back at this tracker and I was right there, like when I started this program. I think it was about probably just about a year and a half ago now, maybe a year. And I was like, oh man, I was there. I just, in my mind, I didn't let myself remember, you know, you've been here before, you've overcome this before, you know how to do this. And when we track those things and we can see that progress, we can see that progression, it just helps us, right? Because our brain wants us to think always, this is hard, you know, I can't do this. I haven't been in this spot, you know, I'm failing, not succeeding. But keeping that data, it's why it's so important, you guys. So keep your food logs so you can go back and
I have data since 1982. I waited 118 then. It's like, oh my God.
So, and it's not to say like, you know, I've got to be where I was when I was 20, right?
No,
I mean, now
no,
I have 5 kids. I'm 20 years older, right? A lot of those factors, but you know, it is good to see like, I've been in the struggle before and I've overcome, because we have overcome so much more than we feel like we have. So use the tools, you guys. Dig into that every single day, every single week, and just use that information instead of getting caught up in what it isn't. Use it for what it is and how it can motivate you with the steps.
But I find that since I'm lifting heavier, my fat is going down, but my weight is kind of maintaining, or it goes up and down. But the more I lift, like I used to lift like 8, now I'm 10, 12, 15, 20. Now it seems like the muscles are much heavier. So on the scale, it doesn't show, but I can see my muscle finally.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that that's a good topic for us to cover, because I think a lot of times we feel like that, like if we plateau with our weight or if our weight isn't going down, we feel, oh, I'm not making progress. And I was actually just talking to Molly about this last week because she had kind of seen that weight bounce up and down, but not really make that significant cut that it had in the weeks past. And, you know, when we look at a plateau, you know, there's really three things that I think are important that we look at. You know, one is the scale going down. Two, are our inches going down? Is our body still changing? And number three, are we still making gains in strength? If any one of those things are still happening, we're not at a plateau. Our body's just changing differently. So it's important to remember that and to look at those non-scale victories and look for those gains in other areas, and eventually the scale will follow. But you know, our bodies are really smart. They're trying to keep us, you know, alive, right? That's their job. So you know, as we're kind of trading muscle for fat, you know, sometimes that scale will stay the same until it says, oh, I'm okay, and I can drop, you know, down a little bit. So but I think talking about plateaus, what they really are, and some things that we can do and look for to continue to make gains, both, you know, from a weight standpoint, as well as, you know, like you said, like just shaping your body the way you want to, and being able to make strength gains and be more toned. Like, it's important for us to really look at all of those things. So it's good that you're tracking that so that you can see that progress, right? So
yeah, but I have a huge mirror when I train downstairs, and I can see now when I'm in movement, all the muscles.
Yeah.
I love that.
Like that picture you posted in that pic collage, like, dude,
Yeah.
you could like see that core. I was like, yes, like she is moving forward. I love it. So
I'm
yeah,
not
it's
very tall, so I don't have much to show. I wish I
know,
was.
I get a little disappointed sometime when my chest measurements, you know, are the same as my waist, and I'm like, ah. Some of us are gifted and endowed in different ways.
Yeah, I don't want to sidetrack you from the subject today, but regarding 3-day refresh that we're going to start later this week.
We're going to start, so the 8th through the 10th is what I have planned. So next week.
Next week. But do I keep training with my program, or do I have to stop it for a while?
With the 3-day refresh, you know, they do recommend lowering your intensity. So for someone who doesn't exercise regularly, I definitely recommend not doing exercise. I think you could probably do your exercises. I would lower your intensity so it's not quite so hard or taxing. And then if you feel after like a day or two, you're like, ooh, I do kind of need a break, then I would just either take a break off or do something a little bit more restorative, like yoga or just taking a walk or something like that too.
Okay.
So yeah, but we'll connect in that group this week. I'm going to put some content, and we'll have a call to kind of kick that off and answer questions for everyone. So, but I think pretty much everyone is getting their kit, has it now, or is getting it this week. So hopefully we'll be on track for that. And so that's what we'll shoot for, is to do it the 8th through the 10th.
Okay.
Too. Cool. All right. So topic today, as we kind of head into new week, new month, like I've just really been thinking about fear, what it is, how it holds us back, you know, why we let it hold us back. So I've always loved that acronym, that fear is false evidence appearing real, right? That's what our fears are. They're really just thoughts in our head that we're replaying so often that they become real to us, right? That we're giving them an emotion, we're giving them power over us, when really all of our fears are just really thoughts that we've created, maybe barriers we've created, you know, that can hold us back, right? So you can look at that as, you know, eventually they might turn into excuses to either move forward or not to move forward. And a lot of times we have just as much fear of being successful as we do fear holding us back, you know, and having that fear of failing or not doing well. So I want to talk to you today about like three types of pain that we typically are trying to avoid with fear, right? Because that's really typically what it is just really seeing things, and we create this sense that the things moving forward in things, or trying new things, or doing something outside of our comfort zone is going to bring so much pain into our lives that we just don't do it. We don't move forward, or we don't let ourselves move that direction. Where if we can really, again, flip the script on those mindsets that we're having around these 3 types of pain that we fear experiencing, it can help propel us forward rather than hold us back. So let's kind of talk through those, and I'll give you some examples in each of these, and then some action item as we kind of move forward. So first type of pain that we typically are trying to avoid is loss pain, right? So loss. So if I change my life or do this new thing, or, do this goal, I'm going to, experience loss, right? Whether that's, maybe feeling like, the people I hang out with don't have the same lifestyle. So my relationships are going to change, or I think I'm going to lose these friends or these connections, or even maybe this type of social interaction that I have, right? Maybe if it's something where you're trying to change your career, your job, that you might lose, that security or some of the benefits that you have. I look at some other lifestyle changes, like maybe it's overcoming an addiction, right? Like smoking. What would you lose? What's that fear of loss? You lose that, maybe those smoking breaks that create, a sense of peace and calmness. With weight loss, we fear losing foods that we love, right? We're going to have to give all of that up, that we're not going to have those things anymore. So when I look at loss, at pain, and losing something, one thing that I learned, I think I learned this clear back in my career. Somebody said, we have to look at going to war, right? So this is another acronym that I really love. So WAR stands for what's at risk. What's at risk? And I always like to, when I'm contemplating something, when I'm afraid to move forward and I don't know what direction to go, I always say, okay, go to war, Tina. What's at risk, right? So like, what's at risk if you do this thing, right? And maybe you write down all of those things, all those fears, all those things, all those pains that you just saw that you had. And then I ask myself, what's at risk if I don't, right? So what's at risk if I don't do these things? So if I stayed, if I was at an unhealthy weight and I stayed at that weight, and I had, all these health problems that come up and things like that, like that's a risk too, right? So when we think about loss, the best way to overcome that is, instead of feeling, all of these things, like a fearful mind tells us to think, what if? And we always follow that phrase by something that's negative, right? Focusing on something we can't change. So we have to focus then, like start making those lists about the things that we would gain, right, in the process. So if I were healthier, I could have more energy. I'll be able to do more with my kids. I'll be able to, run that triathlon that I've always wanted to do, right? Like, so start focusing instead on what we're losing, what's being lost in that, and focus on what we're gaining. The number 2 type of pain, let me grab this for her, is process pain, right? When we change anything, it's going to be hard, right? Process of changing in and of itself is hard. But a lot of times we give so much to that hard that everything that we do, we lead ourselves that direction, right? If we tell ourselves something's going to be hard, every action we take is going to lead us to validate that fear that this is hard, right? Or validate that pain that this is hard. Like going back to that example of, maybe somebody that's looking to quit smoke, it's going to be, the process will include having withdrawals, right? Those cravings, like all of those things that happen with that. When we look at losing weight, we have to make a meal plan. We're going to have to carve out time to go shopping. Maybe we need to learn to cook new meals, or start exercising. All of those things can be hard parts of the process. So if we focus in on that, if we focus in on the process of things being hard, again, that's what we're going to find, that things will validate that in our minds, that things are hard. So flip that switch, right? Like, see this as a game, like create learning something new, doing something new, create that process to make that fun and enjoyable for yourself, right? Learn to see things as like fun and new and engaging, like change your mindset around that. If it's, I'm going to, really find some new foods that I love, right? And I'm excited to experiment and decide what that is, and give these to my family and do the taste test, every night. So we get to try new things. That's going to be fun. If it's, maybe you're a checklist person, right? Like that 2 pounds down, something like that for me is really motivating because I love seeing and being able to check the boxes every day, right? So maybe it's tracking your habits and you're like, I'm so proud of myself to see that I did this every day for 30 days, right? So we have to take that process from being hard to really focusing on, again, what are those gains and making that enjoyable for ourselves, right? Finding something that's fun and makes us happy to do within that process of change. And then the third type of pain that we typically have with fear is outcome pain, right? So I really struggled with this for a long time, and I kind of feel like this is, a fear of being successful, but more so it's like, when we understand that the process is going to take work, and effort, and so we go through this thought process in our mind is, what if we go through all of this? What if we put in all of the work, all of the effort, and we're no better for it, right? It doesn't change. The grass isn't greener on the other side. We don't have a better lifestyle. We didn't grow as fast as we want to. And that can be really real. Like, I actually just in saying that this morning, I just posted on my story how, as motivating as it is to start a new week, a new month, and how excited I am for my goals, man, I'm kind of not excited. So today I started retraining for Ironman St. George, retraining, because when we went into quarantine, we were only about a month out from that race. So I had fully gone from last Thanksgiving, the end of November, clear till the end of March, training for this Ironman. That never happened. So now I find myself today saying, okay, I'm going to start training. I know this is a lot of work. It's going to require time, effort, like all these things. What if we get to September and that race gets canceled again? Right? Like outcome pain. I'm like, do I want to start that again? I don't know. Do I want to put forward 15 hours a week of training and then it not happen again? Right? And then immediately I caught myself in that thought, and because I've had this thought obviously for weeks and weeks leading up to today. And I thought, you know what? If it doesn't happen, you're still going to be in amazing shape. You still have other goals for your health and fitness that are going to happen, even if that particular race doesn't come, right? So overcoming that outcome pain, like let yourself dream and visualize the things that would be good, that would be wonderful, that would happen, in your life, right? Again, like going back to that example of smoking, right? I finally feel good again, right? Think overcoming that, in like maybe it's smoking, maybe it's sugar addiction, right? But just feel how that makes you feel. Like when I eat too much sugar, I get inflamed, I have headaches in the morning. Like just knowing that outcome, that I don't have to feel like that I can wake up feeling clear-headed, that I can wake up without my alarm because I have more energy in the morning. Like those things are awesome outcomes of doing the right thing with my diet, right? Maybe it's that you're not going to perpetuate disease in your body. Maybe you have a family history of, heart disease or diabetes or something like that. And by making those changes to your diet, to your lifestyle, that you're not going to have that you're not going to pass those habits on to the people that you love, right? That you're going to enjoy tasting good food, that you're going to enjoy going out, that you're going to enjoy being in those pictures with your family and feeling good and confident in your body, that you love to shop now because you love how you look, and you love shopping for clothes that fit your body, right? There's so many great things that we can focus on the outcome in a very positive way if we dream and visualize that, right? Which is why I so I focus so much on your why, right? And not just like having a why, like why do you want to lose weight, but seeing that picture of what your life is like as you reach your goals. I think it's so important. So again, overcoming this fear, this false evidence appearing real, these things that we're afraid of in our life that hold us back. Again, it's all just mindset, right? And if we start to master our mind and direct our thoughts in the way that we want to go, that will help us, we'll get there, right? So I want you to kind of, as far as taking action this week on this, in working through this thought of fear, is I want you to answer this one question, in whatever that area is that you feel like you're holding back or you're not progressing fast enough. Like, why have I not been progressing faster? Ask yourself that question. And I think you'll find your answer will pinpoint into one of those types of pain, right? Loss, process, outcome. And as you understand that, I want you to start making that list. Like, I just want you to journal, what are the gains, right? What are the gains from making this change? What are the joys that you find? What are the positive outcomes that are going to come as we continue to move that direction of becoming who we want to, right? Becoming that better version of ourselves. And you'll just find yourself supercharged, right? You're going to live this supercharged life that you always want, as we let those things go and focus in with the right mindset on where we're going. And that's all we need to do. Again, our brain is just wired to keep us safe, to keep us comfortable, to use the less energy as possible. Like, it's up to us to foster and create and to continue to have that vision, to have that gratitude for being able to move ourselves forward, for having the opportunity to use this body, to use the gifts that God gave us to become even better and to help others along the way with that path. So, no more fear.
It's really funny that we talked about that today, because with the P90X3, Tony Horton always goes into the program without showing you the move. So I look at it first and then I do it, So every time I look at it, I said, oh my gosh, it looks so hard. I'll never be able to do that. And then I go downstairs and I do the workout and I said, I'm proud. I did it. I can do it.
Yes. Right.
But I scare myself every time I look at it and say, oh, it's going to be a really hard one. And then I go downstairs and it's not so bad.
That's awesome.
I
So
can manage.
From experience that you're doing that. So now when you watch that, you're just going to be like, oh my gosh, I am a superwoman because I'm going to do that.
But I'm not very tech oriented. I have to find a way to videotape myself when I do it so I can see what I look like, because I see myself in the mirror, but I never videotape it. I only have my phone and it's kind of too small. I don't know where to put it. I have to buy a stand or something that I can see myself doing the exercise.
Yes. I'll send you a link, the tripods really aren't that expensive to hold your phone. Yeah. So I'll send you a link to some that I like on Amazon, because you could get, a bigger tripod or even just something like small like this.
Okay. Yeah.
Could hold your phone. But yeah, it does, you see so much as you record yourself and you can see, ooh, my form was good, or, oh, I can see how I can improve that for sure. I think that helps a lot.
So when you do the video, do you do some cut and paste to make it all together, or? So I'm always surprised to see how you can videotape it, and I don't know how to do it.
Yeah, there's a couple of apps. Like, I usually, sometimes I'll just use Instagram, where it'll only take like 15 seconds. Well, it used to only take 15 seconds. Now they've changed that it just continues on. But, I'll just take little snippets of it usually, or I'll just let it even play, and then I'll just, edit it to cut it down into a few seconds. And then there's some apps that you can use to, kind of put it together easily. So I'll send you a couple ideas.
Okay, because that's my goal for the next month, to trying to have more visual of what I really look like. Perfect. It's also motivating. When I look at you, I said, oh, I like that. I'd like to see myself. I don't know what I look like.
Yeah, awesome. And it's another great way to be accountable to that for sure. So good. I'll send you some tools. That'll be awesome.
Perfect.
All right. Have a good week.
Yes, we will. You too.
Okay. Thanks, my friend. Talk to you soon.
Okay. Have a good day.
You too.